Hello, everyone. Madilynn Dale here with the Chapter Goddess, and I've got some fantastic authors for you guys to listen to and meet this morning or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. They've got a great series out, and I can't wait to get started on it. So to start off, let's go ahead and have Kayla introduce herself. Let me get my fingers right. It's this side.
Hi. So I'm Kayla. I'm one of the co-writers of the Pentracer Chronicles series. Amanda and I have actually been working together a long time, but this series is kind of a new venture for the two of us. But it's really exciting. Like, I guess a little bit about me. I come from a theater background. Storytelling has always been a huge part of my life. And so writing these stories has always been happening. Amanda and I'm sure we'll talk about it. She and I have been writing Pentracer in one way, shape, or form for about 20 years before this turned into books. But so writing's always been a passion and always wanted to be what I wanted to do. So it's been really exciting to do this adventure, especially with my best friend, and start this adventure. So I'll pass it over to Amanda so she can introduce herself too.
All right, Amanda, take it away.
Hi, I'm Amanda Miratov. I am the other author of Pentracer Chronicles, and I am Canadian. I live on the West Coast, so I love the mountains and the beaches, and it's first and foremost in my mind right now because I just came back from a convention, hence the raspy voice. But we went to Calgary for a fan expo, and oh my God, I miss the mountains so much. I'm really glad to be home.
I believe it. So with writing this series, tell our viewers what it's like to do a book together. Like, how does that process work?
Well, I think it started when we were 12 years old. And it started just because we grew as writers together. We actually have a really unique way of writing, whereas we write in Google Docs at the same time. And like, she's in the States and I'm in Canada, so it's always long distance, and we talk on Discord and we write over top of each other at the same time. And I think it works just because we grew up writing together like that for so long that our styles naturally mesh together really well.
That's awesome. And Google Docs makes it so easy too.
Yeah, and everyone I've talked to, the way we write is completely unique. Like, when people ask, like, how do co-writers write together, usually it's like one person kind of writes the base of it, and then the second person comes in, does the editing, and kind of adds and fleshes out a bit. But Amanda and I are unique in the sense that we, like she said, we write at the same time. Like, we actually schedule during the day, like, these are the hours that we're going to meet and we're going to write, because we work 100% in tandem.
Nice. That's pretty awesome, I have to say. Because, and like, Amanda, your mom. Kayla, are you a mom as well?
I am not. I'm a cat mom.
Hey, that counts. Cat mom. So how do you guys balance, like, Amanda, you with the mom, like, kid and the mom life, and like, you guys balance everything with writing? Like, how does that work? Especially you've got that specific time that you get together to write.
This is incredibly relevant to what we just went through yesterday while we were writing.
Yes, it's definitely a bit of a balancing, juggling circus act. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes I'm like, Nathan, just go play in your room for a bit, be a good boy. And then other times he's either sitting on my lap or he's drawing on my feet on the floor next to my desk. We don't really have like a ideal work environment, so there is no like peaceful music or a specific time of day. We pretty much take what we get, and often it's scraps in a way, because my time, like, he's at preschool right now, so, but usually we have to be, there's lots of like breaks where I'm like, okay, I gotta be right back, because my toddler just, like, I don't even want to say the things he does.
No, I get it, because I have a 4-year-old.
I gotta go, like, I'll be right back. And Kayla's very understanding. She will just often wait for me to deal with my screaming child.
Well, she deals with my 9 to 5, like 40-hour. I have a day job, so like that's the other thing that we have to work out is working out schedules like that. And right now I'm living on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast temporarily, and so that's actually been a huge change in our schedule, because I used to be on the West Coast, so at least we were in the same time zone, but not anymore. No, and it's actually been really interesting how our writing has evolved over the past 3 years of Nathan's life, because we were actually writing when Amanda went into labor.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's actually that's one of my favorite stories. I was on the phone with her when her water broke, and she had Nathan, and I was a panicked mess. I was probably worse than her husband for the 36 hours that she was in labor. I was like freaking out because I'm in the States and I can't get a hold of her. But yeah, it's been interesting, like even just over the last 3 years, how it's changed. Because when Nathan was a baby and just stayed in the crib all day, we were fine. But I will say it's been a little bit of an adjustment as he's been, developing a personality.
Yeah, it is hard, definitely, because I have a 4-year-old and like he's at preschool as well. And it's just like the time they're there, it's like, oh my gosh, just get like everything's like, okay, let me just, what do I need to do? What is the most important thing you need to do first? Like, I need to do this, but I also need to do this. And I'm like,
I kind of love it though because I love it though because Nathan knows me, and I was like the first person who had a name when he was starting to say names, like other than mom and dad. I was the first one who got a name because he saw me all the time, like on the screen and talking with mom, writing books. So I'm always gonna miss being just called Ka for the longest time. Now he says my name a little bit better, but it's really funny because he'll come over to Amanda in the middle of a writing session saying, "Where's Kayla? Is she there? I want to hear her."
That is awesome. So the first book in the series, was that the first book you guys did together?
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to finish that?
Oh, I think we wrote Embrace the Shade in like 30 days.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Yeah, we wrote it really fast.
Yeah.
The editing process took a lot longer because Amanda and I have never had an issue just pounding words out onto a page. So the 30 days to write the initial first draft was one thing, but I will say the editing process and getting Embrace of the Shade to a point where we actually felt good sharing it was a much longer process. And part of it was also that we lumped it together with the other 2 books in the first trilogy. So Embrace the Shade, Blood, the Key, and Unraveling of the Soul, we wrote all of those first before we kind of went back and made sure that each was polished enough to officially publish the first edition of those.
Nice. Do you want to add anything to that, Amanda?
I totally remember what the question is.
I just like, what was it like getting that first book out? Like,
it was actually totally different because we were writing that book while I was still working. And we would sit on Google Docs and write. We wouldn't be on Discord, like we would only be typing. So we actually have documents dedicated to our brainstorming, and it's literally just like typing, and we would watch each other typing words because we couldn't speak, and they're just disaster documents that are just full of thoughts in like no actual order. So they're actually really hilarious for us to look at. But writing book 1 was kind of our first exercise in writing in a book format, because these stories, like we started writing about these characters when we were preteens, but we wrote in a different format. We wrote in more of a text-based, like role-playing format. So she would have a character and I would have a character. And the process of learning to write together instead of, you write a paragraph, I write a paragraph, was probably the biggest hurdle for us to overcome. But once we did that, the book started coming out like a lot faster.
So moving forward from book 1, did you find it easier or harder to create the stories?
Oh, I would say easier for sure. Yeah, we definitely got more used to the process and more used to working together in that kind of a way, that the further we get along, like the easier it is and the faster it is. We started writing book 12. We've been writing book 12 for what, 4 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Like four working days. And I think we're like 15 or 16,000 words in already. Like it gets really quick, like once we start getting into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So on average, how many books do you guys get out a year?
I think we're at three.
Yeah, I
books a
think
year.
3 is our average right now. Admittedly, we have only been at it for a few years, so it
Yeah.
remains to be seen if it'll continue past this. I mean, our goal right
Yeah.
now with the Pen Tracer Chronicles is the entire series is going to be 13 books, at least to start. So we've got 3 more, and they're all coming this year. They're all coming in 2022, and that's going to conclude this initial series of the Pen Tracer Chronicles. We definitely have written off more books in the world. That's something that she and I have talked about. Like sometimes we come up with storylines, we're like, no, let's save that. That could be good for later on. But right now the goal is that we're going to have 3 more books this year, and we're working on 12. We've already written 11, so it's actually we're approaching this final trilogy similarly to how we approached the first, where we're making sure we get the first draft done of all 3 books before we officially announce release dates and get through and start editing and stuff. But they're all going to be coming this year.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah, I think there was only 1 year. 1 year we wrote 4 books. The year we did Rebels Crucible, we released 4 books. And to be fair, that was mostly because we thought it was going to be 3 books, but then the characters had other plans. So it ended up being 4 that year.
That makes sense. Do you guys feel like the characters tend to take over when you get to writing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had, I think our prime example, our favorite example of this is Corin. He came in on book 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he was supposed to be in the books for 1 chapter, one chapter. And then he ended up on the cover of not only book 5, but also book 7, and is a main character through the rest of that series. And he is returning in book 12 and everything. So
yeah, like we just wrote about him like right before this meeting. So
yeah.
That is too funny. So he's just kind of like, nope, I'm not done. Here you go.
Yeah.
So,
well, it turns out he had really good chemistry with one of our other characters. And
gotta love the romance. So speaking of romance, do you guys keep it clean or steamy, like when you write?
Steamy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
steamy.
It's tasteful. Like we definitely don't lean more towards like erotica scenes. We stay away from erotica as a general rule, but our books all have sex, and it's open door sex and hot.
That is good.
Which is the scene we were trying to write yesterday when Nathan kept getting in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he's not like able to read what you're writing. So there's the
true.
plus there.
Sometimes I just have to ask, okay, am I in your headphones or am I not in your headphones?
Yeah.
It's a good call. Because they easily pick up words.
Yes.
And you're like, no, don't say that word. Don't repeat that word. Or they hear a word and they come back and they're like, mommy, is such and such okay to say? I'm like, where did you even learn that word? Like, no,
Right.
we don't say that. So we don't say, and I'm like, no, stop saying it. Like, kids are hilarious. And they definitely make writing, like as an author, probably, I don't know, more hilarious and sometimes harder than it should be. So
A little bit.
Yeah.
I live vicariously through Amanda right now.
Yes. I mean, take it in stride. And maybe one day you'll have one. And
that's the hope. That's the plan. So
yes.
Amanda's going to have to deal with me once that happens.
It's eventful, that's for sure. So with the books and everything, how do you guys go about marketing? Tell me what that looks like for you guys. Do you guys plan marketing strategies? Do you use a lot of social media? What is your go-to for marketing?
We generally, I mean, I've played around with different kinds of marketing. Obviously, some work better for some genres than others. Right now, my take on marketing is mostly to get FaceTime with fans. So I've been doing conventions and like meeting people, and I feel like that's like a really good way to build a community. And so for the most part, it's social media and in-person events, and it seems to be going really well for us this year with that. And I know Kayla's got some events planned for the future too, and I just think meeting readers face to face is worth so much more than like spending money on Facebook ads, because really, I mean,
you build that connection. So yeah, it's definitely, they get to see you as authentic and like
and
meet the person behind the book. Yeah, I get that. And Kayla, do you have a different take on it?
No, I mean, Amanda and I are on the same page with that. And we've tried the Facebook marketing, we've tried the Amazon ads, we've done that and had mixed success, I will say. So we kind of, marketing is one of those things where you kind of have to constantly reevaluate it just based on like what's going on and what's popular. I mean, TikTok right now is the thing. I can't string together a TikTok video to save my life. So, you know, it's got to find the things that work for us that also help get it. And I think Amanda hit it right on right now. It's about the FaceTime with our fans right now that we're trying to do. I'm hoping now, especially with things starting to calm down with the pandemic, hoping, fingers crossed, things continue going the way that they're going so that we can start doing conventions, because it's actually kind of an ideal situation where Amanda covers the Canada and then I cover the States, and so it works out pretty well for us.
That is excellent, actually, because that's like split. Like, I like that.
Mhm.
Because I have not seen anybody use that strategy yet. So, I mean, like that I've talked to. I'm sure someone does, but like, that's genius, guys. Like, I love it.
It's the convenience of where we're both from. I mean, like that's the funny thing is like Amanda, we've known each other since we were 13. Didn't meet in person until we were, I want to say 19, 20-ish. But yeah, it's always been that I've always been in the States and she's always been up in Vancouver, Canada area. So yeah, I mean, but it's worked out for us pretty well. So we did have an argument, though, not an argument, I should say, but we definitely had to discuss at the beginning, okay, which way are we spelling words? Are we spelling it the Canadian way or are we spelling it the American way?
That is a good, like, that's actually pretty good that you had that, because I forget about that all the time until I'm reading something and I'm like, oh, hey, yeah. So
it's kind of funny. Every once in a while, I'll see her type a word and she'll spell it the Canadian way and then delete and correct it, because we did agree on going the American spelling. But I know, like, you typed center yesterday, Amanda, and I totally saw you do RE before ER.
I fixed it.
You did fix it.
Nice. So how did you guys meet and like begin this journey together?
We met on
Neopets.
Which
is a weird place to meet someone.
It is a weird place to meet someone. Are you familiar with Neopets?
I'm trying, like, the name sounds familiar, but I can't recall anything because I'm trying to think like back to like.
It's actually still active. My tattoo artist still plays Neopets.
Nice.
But Neopets was a site for kids back in the day.
Yeah.
And we met on Neopets looking for somebody to write with. And from there, we evolved to AOL Instant Messenger to do our writing. And then we upgraded to forums. And then we met in person for the first time when I was 19. I think Kayla was 20, when my dad and I went to California. So we ended up meeting up with her.
Oh.
And
she was going to Disneyland and I was going to college 5 minutes away. And I was like, we need to meet in person. And it's funny because every interaction Amanda and I had ever had before that had been exclusively writing. It had been exclusively in our characters' perspectives, telling these stories. We actually knew very little about each other, like personally. And so there was kind of this tension, I think, when we first met, because there was this possibility that we're not going to get along at all because we don't know anything about each other. But it was actually really amazing because when we met in person, we just clicked. Like, it was just natural. And I think Amanda will agree with me. She and I are very different in our personal lives in a lot of different ways. And so in the way that I think it's the opposites attract kind of thing, where it's like, we just work. And we do that in our writing too, where the joke is that I always tell people is that if it was just me writing, all the characters would be dead. Amanda, because I'm super dark. Like, I'm the one who wants to like Game of Thrones.
She wants to kill everyone. She wants to kill them all.
And she's the one who's always saving them. And I mean, we write romantic fantasy, so really we can't kill certain characters. They're safe just by, plot. But then if Amanda was purely writing it, it'd be, all lovey-dovey, doves and flowers everywhere. And I'm the one who tones it down a little bit on that score.
Oh, doves and flowers.
I mean, you're definitely the more romantic one between us.
I am definitely the more romantic one. I will give you that. And Kayla, she tries to kill everyone. So The
That's
fact
fair.
that your favorite characters are still alive, that's because of me. You're welcome.
I will agree with that. That is true.
That is hilarious. So y'all both, it balance out in the writing then.
It does,
That's good. Opposites like that working together, it makes the stories, I feel like, more unique and it flows. So
It
that's
does.
hilarious.
And I mean, we complement each other because I'll start writing and I'll just be going off on like dialogue and action and what's happening and shit's exploding. And then Kayla is the one who goes back and is like describing what a beautiful explosion it is and like describing the walls that are containing said explosion. Like I get so ahead of myself and so excited about the story that I just start writing. And then Kayla's the one who goes back and makes sure that we establish like a good visual at the same time. And because she's so good with like her descriptors and her imagery, whereas I am more of the I'm going to take off and tell you about all the action kind of writer. So it works really well together.
That is good.
Yeah,
that is good, because I'm one of those, like, I get lost in the story, then I have to go back through with edits, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to add so much more here and so much more here, and I'm doing that right now, and I'm like, oh gosh, why did I do this again? Like, why? So wow, I'm excited that you guys work so well together. So, and you can tell, like, just in this conversation we're having, your chemistry works too, so that shows like readers that are watching that you guys can just bust it out and go. So I like that.
Well, and I said it before, it's great doing this honestly with my best friend. Like, that's the thing, is like Amanda and I have been best friends for so long at this point that it works too in that, because we also have that mutual respect for each other in regards to like what we bring to the table for it. And like we've talked about it, like we've talked about doing standalone projects away from each other, and like both of us struggle with it. We're like, I don't know if I can write this without you. Like, I'm too used to working with you, and I need you to actually create plot for me, and because I can just create the images. So it's kind of funny how we work together to this point where we're almost like dependent on each other a little bit. I think.
We are, because if I start writing, I'm like, I can get the plot. I wrote a whole book without Kayla, but it has like no imagery in it and no descriptions. I need her to like go through and fix my book for me, because I'm so dependent on her for that side of things that now it's almost like we've created like this codependent writing relationship where we're so used to writing together that now we can't write for ourselves.
We'll figure it out, Amanda. We'll figure it out. But
you'll get there. Like, just keep practicing. So it's the best way to do it. So with you guys both living very different lifestyles, different parts of the world, what do you guys do for self-care for yourself to help keep the creativity flowing and keep like your mental health there in check?
Oh my gosh, this is such an important question for me right now. Like, I was struggling recently. I mentioned before that I had a 9-to-5 and like 40-hour work week, and my job was super stressful. So I will say, finding time to be creative and work with Amanda, I bless you, Amanda, for being so patient with me while I was dealing with all that, because I had a hard time like balancing the two. But I'm getting better. I'm at a point now, I'm actually changing careers, which is a totally different story, but that's beside the point. For me, Amanda makes fun of me. My self-care is my nails. She thinks it's crazy, like that I find so much joy in just going.
Not crazy. Not crazy.
She just would do it herself. I like going with someone else to do it for me. But then I'm also crafty. Like, my stress relief is crochet.
Oh,
so I'll just crochet all day long. Like that's my thing. I wish I could crochet and write at the same time. I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Awesome if you could figure that out. Like, that would be really cool. So Amanda, what about for you? Because I know like mom balance, like balancing in general is hard. So
it is. I mean, I'm in the fortunate situation where we actually moved last summer, and we bought a house with my parents. So we live here with my husband, my kid, and my mom and dad. And that really helps with self-care, because I have live-in babysitters. It's amazing. Yes. So that really helps. And I generally, like, I go horseback riding every couple weeks, and I take piano lessons, and my husband gives really good foot rubs, and all that kind of like helps with self-care for me. I try to just take time to myself. Like, even if I just just getting groceries or something, I'll be like, hey, just watch the kid for like an hour. Like I need to get out of the house. And I think self-care is super important. And, you know, Kayla's been going through her stuff and I've been going through my stuff. I struggle with mental health like a lot of people do. And so self-care is like really important, and finding that time to do things just for me.
Yeah.
And I try really hard to do that.
Good. It's really hard. So, and I like to ask every author I interview, because I feel like there's not enough focus in the world on self-care. And I know everybody struggles with it. So, and like, once you hit mom status, it's like everyone expects you to just do everything. And it's like, I can't do everything. Like, I'm not
I
Superwoman.
So. I feel you. It's like, I gotta write, I gotta take care of a 3-year-old, I have to clean, and I have to make dinner. And I'm like, I don't know how to do all that at the same time.
It's almost impossible. And yeah. So what do you guys have book 12 coming out next, correct?
11 will be the next one.
11 and then the next two.
Yeah.
So moving forward, you're working on book 12, right? Wait.
We're writing book 12 right now.
Okay, writing book 12. I'm like, okay, hold on. Where are we at in the series?
We've written 11. It just needs an edit at this point. And then we're working on 12 right now. And then we have 12 completely outlined, know where it's going, what it's happening. And we're not pantsers. We're definitely planners when it comes to writing. So we have 12 planned out. 13 is very roughly outlined, but I mean, 13 has to end it, so we know where it's going, like we know where it's ending. So but that's next on the docket, is that once we finish 12, we're just going to go straight into 13.
Are you guys struggling with letting go of the characters when it comes to the last book? Okay. Because I kind of wondered, it's been such a big part of your lives for so long. For
so long, it's been like 20 years that we've known these characters. They're like family to me. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
But they're always going to be there, is like the best part. Like, even like whenever I'm feeling down or gray, or I need a pick me up, sometimes I'll just pick up like one of the books and I'll flip to one of my favorite scenes and I will read it again, and it does it all over for me again. Like, it warms my heart, and it reminds me that, like, even though we will finish writing about them at some point, they will still always be there. And not just in the books, but on my skin, because my entire tattoo sleeve is actually for the characters of these books. So
that is awesome. I started doing that for myself. I've got a huge, like, my first characters for my first 2 books are on my back. And it's just like, my husband's like, you're just becoming addicted to tattoos. I'm like, no, I'm not. They have meaning. So I mean, it's my characters, and you can't let go of characters. They're always gonna be a part
they're
of me.
like it's a part of me now.
Yes.
Literally. So
That's
and then
awesome.
As soon as Kayla gets her butt up here to Canada, we're gonna go to my artist, and she's gonna get a matching shade tattoo. Where's my shade tattoo?
You can't quite see it. It's on the inside.
I can't quite see it.
But that's like a tattoo that's really prevalent in the books. That's it has a lot of importance in it, and it's Kin, who's like one of the main characters at the beginning. He's the one who has it, and so like I remember when Amanda was talking about getting that tattoo, I was like, okay, you can get it as long as I get to work with your artist on actually designing it as well, because it's it's really near and dear to my heart since it's my character. But yeah, the plan is that hopefully I'll get one too.
That is so fascinating. I love it. Well, guys, go ahead and tell our viewers where they can find your books and where they can find you at on social media.
Well, all our books are available on Amazon, ebook, paperback. I'm still working on recording the audiobooks, so there's only 2 of those available currently. We do have a website, pantracia.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter and get a free ebook novella to give it like a taste of the writing style for the series. We do have a Facebook group called The Rebel's Hearth, and we would love to have you if you want to talk about the books. It's like our favorite thing in the world. So, and obviously we have a Facebook page. We have a couple Instagram pages. Mine is A Muratoff _author, and Kayla's
K Hansen, Hansen, like the soda, not the boy band, _author.
Did you say like the soda?
Yeah, there's a soda. You don't know Hansen soda?
Hansen is a soda?
Yeah, I didn't know the soda. I knew the band, but
it's a West Coast thing.
It must be an American thing.
It's a West Coast American thing.
I was gonna say it's definitely not Central. So
No, there's a soda called Hansen soda. Come on, guys.
Oh,
That's
You
look
just
it
have to
up.
trust me.
Someone's gonna know. Someone's gonna know this.
Yes,
this
yeah, somebody
mysterious
will.
Soda, not the boy band. That's how you spell my name.
Nice.
But yeah, so.
And of course, you can always buy books directly from us. We do love to sign books for people, so we offer shipping within Canada and the US at a rather reasonable rate, I think. So you can always contact us through our website, pentracia.com, if you want signed books.
Awesome. Anything else to add, guys? Okay.
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't think I
Awesome.
got anything.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
it was super fun. Thank you.